Hey everybody, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers that are out there, and all you fellas. I hope you guys actually did something for your mums and making sure that you know that you love them and appreciate them. And a big shout out to my own mum as well. Love you very much, mum. Hope you have a good day. I'll see you later on tonight. Um, this is what I'm going through right now, and I sent a message out to everyone and made sure that you guys knew that I was going to be doing the rankings right now, the top 25 and also the top 50 rankings, which will be out on Tuesday. And I make it Tuesday so that it gives me a bit of time to look more at trends of teams and how teams are actually going and little patterns and things like that. As everyone knows, the rankings and where I start actually take rankings, take games according to rankings. That date was April the 20th, so the rankings started then. So all games before that to me is preseason. From that date onwards, is they all count to your ranking. I'm just doing this video so that everyone kind of gets the idea and the gist of how I think about stuff and how I take into account how a team is doing and how a team responds week to week, and then how and what teams they can produce against and can't produce against or find hard to produce against on weekly basis. And so we'll start, and I'm going to start down in the South Island with the UC Cup or Championship down there with Waimea combined, Marlborough boys, as well as Christchurch boys. So all the guys down there would know this and how that kind of works out, or how it's kind of worked out. So all the boys in Christchurch and in that competition, they know how kind of in a circle that is. Like maybe some of these guys up north here don't know, or maybe are not recognizing, so I'm going to shed some light on it. Christchurch traditionally is big time every single year. They've just had a big clean out of players and real class players. Like obviously our first five for New Zealand, first five halfback for New Zealand, and he's also gone off to the under 20s with New Zealand and done really well as well. And so with Josh gone, Nathan gone, and Jesse Houston gone, like those kind of guys, and then they've had to kind of clean everybody out, and then they've got a new crop of guys. I understood that it was going to be hard for them to take a whole group of new players, and we're talking about 18 players being new. Like that's a lot of players for any team, and I don't really care how good your school is traditionally at producing good teams. That is still a lot for even a good coaching staff to try and prepare them for that year. So that's what's happening with them. They've had a big clean out, and they're trying to find everybody's best potential positions that will benefit to the scheme and the system that they're running for the team. So that's what they're dealing with. The other one is that Marlborough Boys has got a really old team, big forward pack, big front row. They've got Nigel at second five. They've got what's his name? Ave at first five. They've got a really young open side, blind side, wherever he plays. He's in my top 10 of my top 11 year 11s. Jaden, and so they have a lot of good potential players there, and they're a real old team, so they've all played 2 years in that level as well, so they're used to it. Now Waimea is joined up with other country schools or area schools around them, and then the best players from those have come into that one team. Yes, that sounds like a rep team, but they've got maybe 7 guys who are outside of Waimea colleges. So Waimea is just a combined team with the good players that have come from other teams, which is just like one or two, and then they've come in and just sort of filled the gaps. obviously they're going to be the best. Obviously they're going to be the best in their school, and then they'll add to that. So like, they will be a good team, but I don't think we all thought they were going to be this good. Okay, so for example, and I'm looking at my screens at the same time as doing this so that I can sort of go back and forth. And so I've got week 2 scores, as well as my week 3 scores, as well as all the scores that are up from those games. And so we had Marlborough Boys go to Christchurch and then beat them in Christchurch. Massive. Like, we didn't even know that was going to happen. I had Christchurch ranked 13th, only because of the potential of what they always seem to produce, and the coaching stuff that counts into it and stuff like that as well. So I had them 13th, but then obviously when they lost, I slipped them back to 17th. So they lost to Marlborough Boys 22-18. That was last week. Then come up to this week, and then Marlborough Boys and Waimea played off, and then Waimea just gave them a hiding. And I didn't even expect Waimea to win. I thought it could be a really close game, but I wasn't so sure. But I gave the benefit of the doubt to Marlborough, who I was actually looking at thinking, well, if they beat Christchurch by this much, or they went down there, beat Christchurch, are they a ranked top 25 school? So that was the question for me. I had moved them up in my top 50, and they moved up, and then I thought, okay, well, we're going to see what they look like when they beat this team, and then I'll see about the week after, which was yesterday, to see if they would win big against Ashburton, which they did. They pretty much, wiped them out. Roncalli, actually. They beat out Roncalli 76-0. So if they had actually won the Waimea game and then won yesterday, which I thought they would as well, they to me would have proven, okay, this is a serious looking into the top 25. But it didn't actually play off that way. So Waimea, once Waimea beat them, and then I looked back and I saw, well, if Marlborough Boys can beat Christchurch Boys, and then Waimea can actually wipe Marlborough Boys off the field, what is it going to be like next week when Waimea actually goes and plays Christchurch Boys to beat them by that margin? And, the margin between Christchurch Boys and Marlborough was only 6 points. But then a 42-19 win to Waimea, thinking, just logically thinking, well, holy crap, what's going to happen when they go down to Christchurch? They're going to kill these fellas. Didn't actually happen that way. So it puts something else into the mix. Waimea go down, whatever the reason was, whether they were starstruck or whether they were overhyped or whether they got a bit nervous or whatever. Christchurch showed up, and the difference was 31 points. So 39-8 to Christchurch Boys raises a lot of questions. The first question is Christchurch Boys... Well, where does Christchurch Boys... Because I do believe that Christchurch Boys belongs in the top 25. But where? Like, am I looking between 10 to 15, or am I talking about 15 to 20 or 20 to 25? And so those are mixed results, and so I'm going to have to wait another week to actually really see what Christchurch Boys can overlap within their next week. The second one is Marlborough Boys. Is like, well, they put up some good scores, but then how do I explain what happened against Waimea College? So I'm going to actually have to wait for those as well for a couple of weeks to play off to see, well, okay, maybe that was just a bad game. Or if they keep actually losing, and by big margins, maybe they're not the real deal. And Waimea is the same thing. It's just like, well, maybe they just came out and played a really big game, and then things just worked out for them. And so those are all the kind of things that play off. I'm still looking at Waimea is going to move up into the top 50 because they have that potential to beat big teams. But it just depends how far up the ladder. I had Waimea at. Let me check. I had Waimea at 71 in the country. I had ranked them 71 in the country, and so I'm gonna, they're gonna have to jump up 20 spots to beat someone like Marlborough Boys and to show that they actually belong in that category of team. For now, they're gonna be in the top 50. Where in the top 50, I still don't really know. I've got to check with the others. The other teams that were actually surprising, other teams that I'm looking at moving up, is Auckland Grammar. And that's like another question as well that we sort of have to wait for. Is like, is Auckland Grammar that good where they can drop 60 points, or is Ongahanga that bad? And to be honest, and keep it 100 with everyone, that Ongahanga was really... really disappointing to see, because, and it made me feel like myself at high school, where I had talent but I was just lazy, and that's kind of what I felt a bit about them, is that they have heaps of skills and you can just see it, that they have the skills but they're just not fit. So if they're going to win a game, they better score 24 points in the first half and then just fight it out in the second, and just hope that they have enough in the tank to last the second half, because that's kind of like what their game is going to be like. And so those are other questions there. Mags is another one that I'll move up. Even though I know Otahu is kind of bad, they're not there this year, and they're not going to do that great. Even though they did keep up in the 1A, things just don't look good for Otahu. But I mean, they're there, and then they just have to keep producing better than what they did in the last game. Wesley is one that I have questions about. Wesley, I have ranked. I have them ranked right now at number 15. They have a draw and then they have a win. So they won this week with. They drew last week with Dilworth, 15-all, which was really surprising. Because I watched Dilworth against Auckland Grammar the week before that and thought, okay, maybe Wesley's going to run them off. And the Wesley boys actually look really good. Like they all prepared and fit and all that kind of stuff. And so I thought maybe they'll run them off. 15 points each, and they came out with a draw. A little bit of alarm bells, but can't get too caught up over that. Then they went and played Tauranga Boys, and I know Tauranga is kind of in a rebuilding stage, and they managed to score 2 tries against Wesley. Tauranga is in my top 50, and it's kind of a flimsy top 50 ranking for them, because I still want to see what they look like, and I know they have good individual players, but I want to look at the guys who are between those really good players to see if they match up and work out. Wesley, 26 points is good, but I think I would have felt better if they maybe dropped 30 on them and maybe pulled them back to 10 points and not 14 points. Just to show that they belong as a top 15 team in the country. So a draw and a win to start the season is okay. Not ideal, but it is okay. We may even find out that Dilworth is actually better than what I expected. And maybe they are, because they do have some really good players. I mean, even the review that I wrote up, I still like the way that they play within the midfield. I like the 2 brothers and the loose forwards, the Manu brothers and the loose forwards. I like the way that they work together. I do have Dilworth ranked 32nd, behind Massey and behind Timaru Boys, who are both really good teams right now and who are actually winning. Actually, Timaru Boys is a team that I am seriously looking at the top 25. Because this is what they've scored in the last, and since the 20th, and they've played 3 games. They gave St. Kevin's a hiding, and they had 54 points, and St. Kevin's had a donut to their name. 92 points against Lincoln High School, and everyone knows in Christchurch Lincoln High School is not the best. They always have pretty 1 or 2 pretty decent players, but they're not the best. But 92 points for any team is pretty impressive. 92 points isn't easy to score. And then against Ashburton just yesterday, 39 points to 10 over Ashburton. So Timaru boys, I feel like they could actually be the real deal, and they could actually be someone that we should really look out for. And then going back to Dilworth played Sacred Heart yesterday, and they actually put up a really good fight. 23-10 loss to Sacred Heart. They still add up pretty well against Sacred Heart and Wesley. So for me, with Dilworth, is like maybe they are a bit better than what I think they are, and maybe they are that cusp of the top 25. And I think that at 32 right now, I think I have them ranked where they are right now. I think they place really well, and I think I've ranked them well right now. Francis Douglas, because Francis Douglas, they have had a hard 3 games, but I still think that they're a pretty good team and one to look out for next year. They have lost their first 3 games, but they were to St. Peter's. St. Peter's was their first one, and then they lost yesterday to St. Paul's. Actually, St. Paul's scoreline doesn't look too bad. Hopefully I'll get some film on that. Hopefully someone send me some film. Please, coaches, send me the film so I can watch the game. And maybe it wasn't that bad, but 22 to 6 with St. Paul's ranked number 21 is still a pretty good score. So Francis Douglas is one of those schools that I'm looking at for sort of next year, because they have a really young team and they have really good players as well. And I think that they'll grow to be a better team. Just talking about teams for the future, Auckland Grammar is one of those schools, and I was talking to this kid yesterday at the game, and I was talking to him about all the guys and what forms they were in, and he even agreed with me too, and he's just like, yeah, we're a young team. I said, yeah, I actually think Auckland Grammar might even be the best team next year in the 1A comp. I mean, Kings will probably clear out a couple of players, St. Kitts will clear out a couple of players as well, key players as well, so and Mags will be the same. Mags will bring back more players than those other teams, but I still think Auckland Grammar might actually be my leading team for next year. This year, they're showing really quick signs that they are going to be a really strong team to beat, especially with the year 13s or 7 formers who are young 7 formers who can return back next year. And if they all come back, they're going to be winning a lot of games next year. And the other team, I gave mean props to the other team as well, and they pulled through against Napier boys, who I didn't think Silverstream were going to win. I knew it was going to be close, but Silverstream pulled it off, man. And Silverstream is one of those teams like Auckland Grammar that I'm looking at next year. Like, I feel like Silverstream is going to be a top 5 team next year, and by beating Napier boys, and with the talent that Napier boys has. Maybe they're going to do it earlier. Maybe they'll do it earlier than I expected. I still think they're one of the top teams in Wellington, and they are going to be fighting for that top 4. And one of those good teams in Wellington are going to miss out. And judging from the scores, I'm really surprised at Wellington. Like, I'm not too sure what the roster is. I haven't got any roster back from them and who played, and hopefully I can get some film from that. But 35-13 against Palmy boys, and I've watched Palmy boys when they came up to St. Paul's, and it wasn't attractive rugby, and there was something wrong. It just didn't look right by Palmy boys, and so for them to actually put that many points up on Wellington College, who I think are really talented this year. I don't know. Braden was missing from Palmy boys when they played St. Paul's, but that was a massive blowout, and so when I look at Braden, he adds like 12 points to your team. So even if he was here, I'm not even too sure if they would still be able to beat St. Paul's. But for them to go and put that many points on Wellington, and even for Wellington not to score more than 13 points, is kind of a worry. So I'm going to be watching both teams. I'm going to be watching Wellington because I have them 13th, and they're definitely going to fall. Scots College, I didn't think that they were going to be that bad, and that's pretty disappointing. But I mean, Hastings is a big time team this year, so kind of a surprise. I just didn't think it would be that much. Maybe in the 30s, but Hastings scoring 53 points against Scots, who's actually a talented team. Like I said before, they're a talented team who have brought in new players, and even though you bring in the best players that you can, sometimes it doesn't gel. Maybe sometimes they just don't work. So maybe their mix isn't right yet, but it's still only a couple of games within the season, and hopefully they can work things out and get it right. St. Pat's Town is going to be moving up, and they're probably going to be the higher ranked of all the Wellington teams. It wasn't a big surprise that they beat Gisborne Boys, but I thought Gisborne Boys had more of it in there. But I mean, when you got a New Zealand secondary school player coming back, and someone like Cefoy's Xavier, I honestly think he's the best prop that we have in the country right now. And that's just my opinion. I think he's the best prop that we have in the country right now. And they've still got Takaji, and we still got Keanu and Tim and all these other guys around the country. So those guys are going to be moving. Where they move is all depends on what they have done. Rongotai College only played Paraparaumu. I don't know what Rongotai team they put on, but 43-8 still isn't